Okay, this goes out to all the Star Wars quote unquote Lego fans out there. Could you please come down from your high horses and back to us lowly, commoner Lego fans? Surprise! Lego Star Wars is not the best Lego theme like you may be illusioned to think so. There's a new cat in town, and it is Marvel superheroes.
That's not true. That is a lie, and this is fraudulent, and I'm excited to tell you all about why.
So why are we comparing Marvel versus Star Wars? Well, there are some similarities, right? They're both properties that are owned majority by Disney. They're both the biggest mega franchises in the world right now. They both have a Marvel land and we have a Star Wars land. It basically comes down to which are you more of a fan of outside of Lego? Which fandom are you more of? That's probably the side you're going to take the side of when it comes to Marvel versus Star Wars. But let's take that out of it. Let's look at sets purely alone and minifigures. We're going to be discussing price, number of sets, displayability, build experience, play experience, variety, minifigures, and more. Thesis statements. Daniel Lewa, why is Lego Star Wars superior to Lego Marvel?
Star Wars is the superior theme. You can be transported to a galaxy far, far away and have a fantastical, imaginative experience, whether you're a kid playing with whatever, the stormtrooper mech or these spaceships, or if you're an adult lovingly building and displaying your favorite characters and action set pieces from the movies and the shows, you can be transported to this world. They have swooshability, they have awesome, huge, giant builds, and they have a crazy variety of bigs, builds, and spaceships. What more could you want?
Counter thesis. Marvel is the superior Lego theme. At its very core, Marvel as a franchise is adaptations. Every single thing that you see from Marvel is going to be an adaptation of the source character. Every new comic series you read is going to be an adaptation. Every movie you watch is going to be an adaptation. Lego is just one of the many universes that Marvel can be adapted to. For Star Wars, it's good. The movies are great, but when you get adapted to a Lego form, they become lesser. And that's why the Lego Star Wars fans are always so upset. Why didn't we get this? Why didn't we get this? My clone trooper's not exactly how it was in the movie. He's missing a mole on his upper right forehead.
Maybe it's just because Star Wars fans care more than Marvel fans.
Number one, price.
Because there are so many different sets, such a great, huge variety, that adds up. So for total cost, you have $2,729 for all 30 of the retail sets. Now, you may think, that's kind of a lot, but that encompasses so many different things. The average cost for Star Wars 2023 sets is $91, which means that most of the sets are on the more substantial side, the $100 and above, or at least some of the sets are weighting it that way. But it means you get really beefy builds. The most commonly occurring prices are $70. You have four $70 sets and four $16 sets. I think that's also representative of the fact that Star Wars caters to the more adult fans with a little more fancy stuff, $70 and up, as well as to the more kid-friendly side on the $16. A bunch of sets for $16 or less. Easy pickups for great birthday presents. So you have a wide range from $5 to $650.
Hey mom, can I please have $100 so I can go over to Walmart and buy a Lego set, please? Honey, that could feed our family of groceries for about a week or so. And anyways, price-wise, average price. The average price of Marvel would be $67.29 for 2023. If you wanted all of Marvel 2023, which is 28 sets comparable to Star Wars, it would be $1,880. The median price is $35. Most expensive set is $500, and the least expensive is also $5. So as we can see from these statistics, yes, the price is lower than Star Wars. An argument can be made, well, you're getting higher quality builds with Star Wars. Well, actually, you're just getting a Star
That's
Wars.
right.
You're getting a Star Wars tax. And it's really, Marvel will do it sometimes. You're really getting taxed for every clone trooper that's added onto your set. If you want to go broke, go Star Wars. If you want to have fun at a cheaper price point, go Marvel.
What are you talking about? The value of Marvel sets is pretty abysmal. We're looking at the Hoopty, where it's literally 21 cents per piece, where a good standard is 10 cents per piece. You're looking at 21 cents a piece there. And all these little mechs, 15 cents a piece. It's just the value proposition for most of these Marvel sets is just not there. I'm sorry, I can't see it.
Okay, we can pick and choose select few sets.
Ghost Rider, Endgame Battle, Avengers Quinjet. I'm just reading down the list. These are all kind of overpriced.
I did notice you brought up the Ghost Rider's mech and bike battle. I would probably pay $60 for that set to get an actual unique Ghost Rider, the second Ghost Rider that we've actually ever had, instead of getting the 467th Luke Skywalker, Clone Trooper, and Ewok. What do you guys think? Price, Star Wars, or Marvel? Next category, the number of sets. They're both on par. Marvel has 28 sets.
Star Wars has 30.
Comparable. Next, moving on to displayability. We all have that one friend who has every UCS Star Wars thing with 2 inches of dust built on top of it. You build these, you throw them on your dresser, you call it a day. How about builds that encourage you to play with them? How about builds like the Avengers Tower, where it looks extremely stunning, but actually encourages you to get in, take off the panels, rearrange the minifigures, and have the funnest time that you've ever had in your life? In 2023, Marvel tried to focus a little bit more on displayability with more sets like the Wolverine Claw, Star-Lord's mask, Captain America's shield, to keep the adults satiated and happy, and that is welcomed. But there is also a good amount of sets that would look good on display, i.e. Ghost Rider's bike, the new Guardian ship, the Avengers Quinjet, and Avengers Tower, that are very enticing to pick up and play with, as well as look stunning on display.
Fair points, but I don't think anything comes close to Star Wars as far as marrying the displayability with the playability, because almost all of these sets, especially all the Starfighters, are meant to be fully finished, enclosed builds, capture the looks from the movies. They're playable, they're swooshable, they have interactive features, and an adult would be okay putting on a shelf in some sort of action pose. Even Yoda's Jedi Starfighter, the chibiified, kind of derpy-looking Starfighter, an adult fan of the Clone Wars could put that on display and be happy and proud of it because it looks just like it does from the series. And I think Star Wars does a really great job of this, and it's very consistent, where you see it in the movie, you can build it, it looks just like the movie, and it's displayable and playable.
What do you guys think displayability, Marvel or Star Wars? If you want 5,000 spaceships on display, then it would go to that category. Build experience.
Build experience is very thorough. And the design team does a very good job at not only giving you a fully finished product that looks just like it does in the show, but the build process along the way can be very interesting, including a lot of different Easter eggs or exciting different things along the way. So, for instance, the Ghost, fantastic. It has so many different textures and techniques to get the angles, because you have to get these angles right for it to look faithful. And in order to do that, you have really interesting building techniques, geometries, everything.
This build experience also kind of ties in with our variety category as far as Marvel goes, because each of the Marvel sets that I bought in 2023 were vastly different from each other. The Ghost Rider's bike to the new Guardian ship to the Spider-Man final battle, each is providing a brand new unique thing with these beloved characters that I love. Every new bag is a new journey. I'm not getting only gray bricks. I'm not getting only spaceship components. I'm always getting something new. The curvature and architecture of the 2023 Hulkbuster Battle of Wakanda was very spectacular, so I give that a special shout out. So it's the Avengers Tower, of course. So it's a big variety of build experience, and it's a 10 out of 10. Who wins, Star Wars or Marvel, as far as build experience? Play experience. We all know who's going to be the winner of this category, right? Do you want to play with your line of clones shooting at the Jedi, or stormtroopers shooting at the Jedi, or First Order shooting at the Jedi? Marvel, on the other hand, there's a lot of different things you could do, such as magic, supernatural abilities, bending of space and time. So there's so many different scenarios as far as play experience goes. Like Star Wars, yes, you can recreate the movies, but that's all you can do. Marvel, there's 1 trillion different storylines that you could choose from, and you could come up with your new things immediately. You could team up anybody from Ghost Rider to Doctor Doom to Red Skull to Cyclops. Star Wars, there's a very set in stone thing. You can't mix General Grievous with Darth Vader. That wouldn't make any sense.
Imagination is limitless. You don't have to be bound by what is shown on screen. I've never been. One thing I think that Star Wars does a lot better than Marvel is providing substantial play experience in one box. For example, last year alone, you had 2 sets that had complete war space battles in a set. The E-Wing versus Shin Hati's fighter, and the Fang fighter versus the TIE Interceptor. 2 amazing builds per set that you can swoosh around and fight with each other, and a bunch of interesting figures along with it. And that's not something that you see so much in Marvel, where you have big substantial builds. Yeah, maybe you'll have a little, Monkey Kid style side build off to the side somewhere. I am a big Monkey Kid fan, so no dissing on that. But you have all the little Marvel side builds, whereas you actually have much more substantial builds to play with in the Marvel sets, and that's a big plus.
I mean, I'm just looking through 2023, and there's actually not really a single Marvel side build except for the Leviathan and Avengers Towers, and which is probably the greatest side build of all time. I do see what you're saying. Star Wars probably does a better conflict of a ship versus ship. Marvel never lacks on including the supervillain to fight the superhero. Play experience, Marvel or Star Wars. Talk a little bit about variety.
Star Wars covers so many different bases, because not only are you talking about the different types of builds and figures that you get, but it's from every different era of the Star Wars timeline. You have a prequel set, admittedly, just one. 6 Clone Wars sets, the Venator, 13 original trilogy sets, 7 Mando era sets, which includes Ahsoka, and 1 sequel trilogy set. So that's basically every single era of Star Wars represented in some way last year, and that is saying something. It'd be nice to see more of that in Marvel, where different eras are respected, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to do so well over there.
I didn't know that different movie trilogies qualified as Lego set variety, and it is kind of temporal and limited to think that Marvel doesn't cover different timelines. What's for us to say what quote-unquote timeline does Miles Morales versus Morbius car happen in? Is that different than the timeline that the Ghost Rider bike comes
that's
in?
True.
And is that different in the series of the Infinity War movie, the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie, which is in Phase 5 versus Phase 3? But it goes even beyond timeline. It goes into universes. We do have 28 retail sets for 2023, 4 Marvel cars, 3 spaceships, and I just wanted to highlight, I really wanted to say this, that the new Guardian ship pretty much clears most of Star Wars 2023 spaceships just by itself. So spaceships, it's covered. 3 spaceships, 5 mechs, 1 Harley chopper, 1 plane, 1 mobile tank, 2 dioramas, 2 buildings, 3 real-life displays, 1 venomized Groot, whatever you want to categorize that in, a creature. They snuck in mechs in for Star Wars for 2023. Is that really something that the Star Wars fans want? It's something that has never showed up in the movies ever before, ever. With Marvel, you get a little bit more of that creativity. You could come up with whatever you want, because anything could happen.
What's the next category?
Minifigures. This isn't even fair. Marvel got a collectible minifigure series in 2023 with some of the coolest minifigures that I've ever seen in my life. Even if you're not a fan of Marvel, you have to recognize how unique some of these minifigures were, such as the Mr. Knight, Moon Knight, Storm from the X-Men, Beast from the X-Men, Werewolf by Night, the best Wolverine figure we've ever had, the best She-Hulk minifigure we've ever had. Not only that, some of the highlights from just the sets themselves, the best Vision ever with translucent legs from Avengers Tower, the Mark 1 Ultron, the best Wasp we've ever had, all the new suit from Guardians Galaxy 3, probably the best Miss Marvel figure suit we've had, first Morbius ever, Ghost Rider's back. How about Kevin Feige? Not only that, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield minifigures. Jamie Foxx Electro, Alfred Molina Doc Ock, and my personal favorite, Adam Warlock mini. There's no way you could be falling asleep to this. These are heat after heat after banger after banger.
Wait, so you want to start like army building Peter Parkers, or what? Like,
have you heard?
I'm sure you could.
Have you heard of the Spider Society?
Oh crap! No,
heard of the Spider-Verse?
Star Wars is not so shoddy in the fig area. Sure, Marvel needs to have good figs, because that is the important thing about Marvel is the characters, right? Who cares about whatever is Rocket's little ship? Characters are what's important. So that's good that you're getting some good figs. Maybe not always as great as builds. Star Wars has some awesome figs. Maruk, Hu Yang, Balin, Shin Hati, Bo-Katan, and of course Holiday Ewok, fantastic. Sabine, some controversial ones, Captain Rex and Commander Fox, which, let's be honest, those are really cool figs. Are they the best translation of the source material? Maybe not.
But you can have fun in the Star Wars minifigure category, because they're going to be complaining about everything. We could have a baby junior Miles Morales, and we could have an epic dope Miles Morales, and we can have everything in between.
You could army build with these things. You could do what if, you could do visions, you could do, in my opinion, while the figs are very important in Star Wars, what's always been more important to me are the ships, and that is where Star Wars really shines.
I think we know who wins that category if you got to start bringing something up that isn't minifigures to try to compensate. Fair enough. Minifigures, who wins? So, overall closing statements. I see where Daniel A was coming from. I see how Star Wars is a good theme. I'll go ahead and break character really quickly and say Star Wars probably is overall the better sets. Builds, Daniel A said it. I think it really does win in the minifigure category, but Star Wars has some stellar minifigures, like Daniel mentioned, Ahsoka ones that came out, even though I think that show is trash. That's one benefit that Marvel has, is even if the She-Hulk show is trash, this She-Hulk minifigure I can think as a comic book minifigure, because it still looks very accurate. We're going to analyze what's going to be better in all these categories and give the final ranking. We just took a break to do the math, and this is Daniel Awas and I joint agreement. It said price goes to Marvel, not as expensive. Number of sets goes to Star Wars. Displayability goes to Star Wars. Play experience, Marvel has a slight edge. Variety of sets, they're almost exactly the same. Minifigures, Marvel has the edge on. So overall, it's the exact same. Guys, enjoy what you want to enjoy. Get whatever you want, whatever franchises you like. Let's just advocate for more better Marvel and Star Wars sets.
We're going to use those adamantium claws on the like button. Use the force on the subscribe button.
It's that time of night. Marvel vs. Star Wars. Don't hate us after this.